This week, the BBC announced that inflation had fallen 3.4%, and you'll find this language everywhere. Inflation has fallen, and the thing that I find a bit frustrating is I find this language extremely misleading. So I want to explain to everyone what it means when inflation falls to 3.4%. The reason I find this language frustrating is because it makes it sound to the average person that the cost of living is getting easier. Inflation is a bit like a secret pay cut, so instead of imagining 3.4% inflation, imagine your boss going up to you and saying, "We're going to cut your salary by 3.4%. And in 2022, your boss came up to you and said, "We're going to cut your salary by 9.6%. For the purposes of this video, we're going to be rounding that figure up to 10%. What this means in real terms is that in 2021, your weekly food shop may have cost you £100, and in 2022, that now costs you £110. That is why we are calling this the cost of living crisis. It is the cost of everything that you buy day to day going up. And so what it actually means when inflation falls to 3.4% is that after going from £100 to £110, it has now fallen to £113.40. Essentially, unless you've received a 13% pay rise since 2021, you are definitely worse off today. Let me rewrite this BBC article for you. Instead of saying inflation has fallen to 3.4%, what they should have said is food prices continue to rise 3.4%. Now I'm going to give you an example of how extreme this is when stretched over decades. So for this example, instead of measuring food prices, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be deducting your purchasing power from your salary. So instead of saying food prices have gone up from £100 to £110, I'm going to be saying that your salary has gone down 10%. So if you were earning 50k, you are now earning 45. If you were earning 50k in 2004, first of all, well done, this is far above the median salary of the time, but you'd continue to earn 50k all the way up till 2024, then your actual purchasing power has gone down to £29,000. But hey, let's assume that from 2004, you got a pay rise every year until 2024, where you are now at 100k. So you've gone from 50k in 2004 to 100k today. By the way, I'll let you know at the end of the video by how much, but this is far more than the median salary in the UK has risen over the last 20 years. Now, when we adjust your salary for inflation, even though you might think you've gone from 50k to 100k, adjusted for inflation, your salary has actually only gone up 7 grand to 57k. And so you might be happy with yourself in thinking that you've outperformed everyone in the UK, going from 50k to 100k in 20 years. However, once you adjust this salary for inflation, what's actually happened, your purchasing power has gone from 50,000 in 2004 to 57,000 in 2024. But this gets even worse once you factor in taxes. In 2004, your pay after tax was 43 grand. So you were being paid before tax 50 grand and your after tax pay was 43k. So your salary has gone from 43 grand in 2004 to 73 grand in 2024. But remember, the price of everything, food, rent, bills, has gone up. So what is your purchasing power? This means in terms of raw purchasing power, despite going from £50,000 to £100,000, what you're actually earning in terms of raw purchasing power has gone from 42,514 to 41,995. Let's think of it this way, and this is a massive oversimplification. In 2004, your salary was £50,000 and your food, rent, bills, everything came to £1,000 a month. Now it's 2024, you've had several promotions, you're at the top person at your job, you've got teams of people underneath you, you've been working really hard for 20 years, and now you're earning 100 grand, and you missed the fact that your food, rent, bills, everything, you're still buying exactly the same stuff, has gone up to 2 grand. The reality for people in Britain, however, is actually worse. In my example, the person going from 50 grand to 100 grand has seen a compound annual growth rate of 3.5% on their salary. The median person in this country has only seen their salary grow annually by 1.3%. Worse than that, the inflation data I used for this example was the Consumer Price Index, which is one of the most stable sources of inflation data. Things like energy prices, house prices, and rent have all far exceeded the CPI data. All this is to say, when I see the BBC saying inflation falling to 3.4%, I get very angry, and so should you. The whole reason this is happening is the people that are responsible for managing the currency, the people who work at the Bank of England and the Federal Reserve in America, and are being paid hundreds of thousands of pounds, are simply printing way too much money and being very irresponsible. And it's why, even though they can be extremely volatile, a lot of people are turning to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin as an alternative to things like the Great British Pound and the US dollar. I'm not going to bore you with the mumbo jumbo, but the way that, say, Bitcoin is coded makes it impossible for any individual to suddenly produce more Bitcoin at will. And it's one of the reasons that Bitcoin is very inflation resistant. I don't think everyone should be buying Bitcoin. I think the best way for the average person to outperform inflation is to buy an index fund. Now, an index fund is like a collection of different investments, and that way, if one of the investment fails, you've got 499 other ones that more than likely have done really well. And one of the best index funds out there is in one of my latest videos, where I talk about how to buy your first 5 stocks, so feel free to go check that out. If you're looking for slightly more risk, you could pop over to eToro, and on there you can actually copy other investors. So if you find one you trust, you can put a small amount of money in and copy them. I myself am on eToro, so you can go there, you can find out, you can go see my portfolio, you can see the stocks that I'm buying and buy them also, or you could copy me. And also you can write to me on there, and if you've got any questions, I will always answer them. But the thing that you really need to do if you want to be rich is